done. Okay?
All right. Yeah, cool.
Like how much further? Like
A little more. A little more.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa!
Have you ever heard of a strange building that even scientists are too spooked to explain?
No. Somebody down here?
From unexplainable events to creepy histories, this place has puzzled experts, leaving them in awe of its weird mysteries, the backrooms. Deep in the heart of internet folklore lies a story about a mysterious, otherworldly building that has haunted imaginations and even baffled scientists. Known as the backrooms, this eerie space is an endless maze of yellow-carpeted rooms, humming fluorescent lights, and a faint, unsettling smell of dampness. Its story began innocently enough, a single photo shared online, but it soon spiraled into one of the internet's most chilling legends. It all started in May 2019, when someone on a 4chan message board asked users to post off images. Among the submissions was a photo of an empty room with yellow walls, harsh lighting, and no doors or windows. Another user commented, spinning a haunting description of this bizarre space. If you're not careful and no clip out of reality, you might end up in the back rooms. It's 600 million square miles of empty rooms, humming lights, and the stink of old carpet. God help you if you hear something moving because it's already heard you. This single post was enough to spark the imagination of thousands. Soon, stories poured in, adding layers to the legend. People imagined the backrooms as an extra-dimensional labyrinth with infinite levels, each more terrifying than the last. Some spoke of industrial tunnels and shadowy creatures that prowled the halls. Others explored its emptiness, claiming it symbolized isolation or existential dread. The phenomenon exploded. Videos mimicking found footage appeared on YouTube, the most famous being Kane Pixel's viral series in 2022. The chilling realism of these short films captivated audiences, thrusting the backrooms into the mainstream. Kane's work was so impactful that A24 picked him to direct a full-length movie based on his vision. Even more mysterious was the origin of the image itself. In 2024, internet sleuths traced it to a Wisconsin furniture store undergoing renovations in 2002. The haunting photo, taken by chance, unknowingly unlocked a terrifyingly relatable idea. A place eerily familiar, yet disturbingly wrong. A liminal space where reality bends and escape feels impossible. The backrooms remain a chilling reminder of how easily reality can unravel. The Winchester Mystery House. In the heart of San Jose, California, stands a house that has baffled visitors and even puzzled scientists for decades. This sprawling mansion is no ordinary home, with doors that open to walls, staircases that lead nowhere, and a labyrinthine design. It seems like something out of a fever dream. Its creator, Sarah Winchester, built this architectural oddity, and her reasons for doing so are as mysterious as the house itself. Sarah was the widow of William Winchester, the heir to the Winchester rifle fortune. Her life was marred by tragedy. Within a few years, she lost her infant daughter, her husband, and much of her family. Left with immense wealth but burdened by grief, Sarah moved from Connecticut to California in 1885, seeking a fresh start and better health in a warmer climate. In 1886, she purchased a modest farmhouse in San Jose and immediately began expanding it. But this wasn't just any renovation. It was a never-ending project. Sarah dismissed architects and took control of the designs herself, constantly adding rooms, tearing down sections, and rebuilding. The result? A mansion with over 160 rooms, filled with peculiarities. Some say she was haunted by the spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles and designed the house to confuse them. Others believe she found solace in the act of building. The house is a marvel of Victorian and Gothic styles, with some Romanesque touches. Intricate wood carvings adorn the walls, while lavish materials like mahogany, teak, and imported glass fill the rooms. There's a ballroom with a floor patterned like a puzzle, a staircase that climbs 44 steps but rises only 10 feet, and even an indoor garden with sloped floors for draining water. When Sarah passed away in 1922, the construction stopped, but the mysteries didn't. Did guilt, grief, or genius drive her to create this bizarre masterpiece? To this day, the Winchester Mystery House remains a place where questions outnumber answers, and curiosity leads to chills. Beneath the bustling streets of Paris lies a secret world that has fascinated and frightened people for centuries, the catacombs of Paris. This eerie underground labyrinth holds the remains of over 6 million people and was once a solution to a city overwhelmed by its dead. In the late 1700s, Paris faced a grim problem. Its cemeteries were overflowing. The worst was Les Innocents Cemetery, a central burial ground with centuries of remains. It wasn't just overcrowded, it was dangerous. The stench of decay seeped into nearby homes, and collapses in basement walls revealed grim sights. Something had to be done. Meanwhile, Paris had another hidden issue. Beneath the city, abandoned mines stretched for miles due to centuries of limestone quarrying. These mines, largely forgotten and poorly mapped, were causing collapses in some areas, with streets and buildings suddenly sinking into the ground. One such collapse in 1774 made it clear action was needed. The solution? Combine problems to find a solution. Officials decided to transform the abandoned mines into an enormous ossuary, a resting place for the countless bones piling up in the city's cemeteries. Starting in 1786, workers began transferring remains into the mines in nightly processions of wagons. The project continued for years, carefully arranging skulls and bones into hauntingly artistic displays. The catacombs were largely forgotten until the 1800s, when they became a curiosity for the adventurous elite, hosting concerts and private events. By the late 19th century, they opened to the public, drawing curious visitors who marveled at the strange beauty of the underground bone displays. For scientists, the catacombs posed many questions. How could such a vast network exist beneath a thriving city without disaster? Their investigations uncovered an intricate maze of tunnels, revealing how Paris grew not just above ground, but also below it. Today, the catacombs remain one of the most haunting places in Paris, a chilling reminder of the city's history and its forgotten dead, hidden just beneath the surface. In northern Ukraine, near the border of Belarus, lies Pripyat, a ghost city frozen in time, abandoned in the wake of one of history's most chilling nuclear disasters. Once a thriving hub of life and innovation, this city now stands eerily silent, its crumbling structures whispering secrets of a catastrophic past that still terrifies scientists today. Pripyat was born in 1970 and was built to house the nearby Chernobyl nuclear power plant workers. It wasn't just a town, it was a symbol of Soviet ambition, showcasing nuclear energy as a peaceful triumph of modern engineering. With schools, theaters, parks, and even an amusement park, life here seemed full of promise. By 1986, the city's population had grown to nearly 50,000 people, thriving under the shadow of the nuclear plant just a few miles away. But everything changed on April 26, 1986. A reactor at the Chernobyl power plant exploded, unleashing deadly radiation into the air. At first, the scale of the disaster was hidden, and life in Pripyat went on as usual. Children played in parks, and workers reported to their jobs. It wasn't until the following day that evacuation orders came, too late for many who had already been exposed. In just 3 hours, Pripyat was emptied, leaving homes, schools, and dreams behind. Today, Pripyat is a haunting time capsule. The Ferris wheel in the abandoned amusement park, never used but intended for May Day celebrations, stands as a chilling icon of lost innocence. Schools still hold textbooks on desks. Toys litter apartments, and nature is slowly reclaiming the city, with trees growing through concrete and wildlife roaming freely. Scientists are drawn here, fascinated and terrified by the lingering radiation and the city's eerie preservation. They study how a place can fall apart yet remain intact, a paradox that mirrors the fragility of human progress. Pripyat is more than a ghost town. It's a warning, a place that reminds us of the cost of unchecked ambition and the silent, enduring power of the atom. In the heart of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, stands the haunting remains of Eastern State Penitentiary, a prison that once terrified both inmates and reformers with its chilling design and revolutionary ideas. Opened in 1829, this massive fortress, designed to instill solitude and reflection in its prisoners, was unlike anything the world had seen. But over time, its dark history and eerie halls turned it into a place of legends, ghost stories, and spine-tingling mystery. Eastern State wasn't just a prison, but an experiment in reform. Its creators believed in solitary confinement as a path to redemption. Each inmate lived alone in a small cell with a skylight called the Eye of God, a constant reminder that they were constantly being watched by both the guards and a higher power. Prisoners had no contact with one another. They were hooded to ensure complete isolation, even when they were taken outside to their private exercise yards. The prison's architecture was groundbreaking. Shaped like a wagon wheel with cell blocks radiating from a central hub, it allowed guards to monitor prisoners easily and became a model for over 300 prisons worldwide. Yet, this grand experiment came at a cost. Over time, the psychological toll of such isolation became explicit, leaving many prisoners broken in body and spirit. Notorious inmates like mobster Al Capone and bank robber Willie Sutton passed through these iron doors. Capone's luxurious cell stood in stark contrast to the stark conditions of others, with plush furniture and fine rugs, a chilling juxtaposition to the prison's grim atmosphere. As the years passed, Eastern State grew overcrowded and fell into disrepair. By 1971, its once innovative design was outdated, and the prison shut down. But its legacy lingers. Today, it stands as a crumbling relic, open to the public as a museum, where visitors wander its eerie halls and hear whispers of its haunted past. Scientists and skeptics alike are drawn to its chilling aura, captivated by the unsettling silence of a place that once brimmed with suffering and solitude. Settled in the misty canals of Xochimilco, Mexico, lies the eerie island of the Dolls, a place that chills the spine of even the bravest explorers. Imagine an island draped with hundreds of weathered, lifeless dolls. Their vacant eyes seem to watch your every move, their decaying bodies dangling from trees. This haunting scene isn't the set of a horror movie. It's real and steeped in mystery. The story begins with Don Julian Santana Barrera, the island's reclusive caretaker. In the mid-20th century, he discovered a doll floating in the canal, just after, as legend has it, a young girl tragically drowned nearby. Believing the doll belonged to her, he hung it on a tree as a gesture of respect, or maybe as a ward against the restless spirit he thought lingered there. But one doll wasn't enough. Haunted by the girl's ghost, Barrera began collecting more dolls, scavenging them from the canals, and even trading his garden produce for these unsettling trinkets. Over decades, the island transformed into a bizarre shrine of fragmented limbs and hollow stairs. The legend doesn't stop there. Some say the girl's spirit wasn't the only one haunting the island. Barrera himself heard whispers and felt drawn by strange voices in the canals. In 2001, at the age of 80, he was found lifeless in the very spot where the girl supposedly drowned. His death only deepened the island's dark mystique. Today, visitors can reach the island by traditional Trajanera boats, though some locals refuse to take people there, spooked by its sinister reputation. Those who dare to visit speak of the dolls moving, whispering, or following them with their eyes. The first doll Barrera ever hung still sits in his old hut, alongside his favorite, Agustina, preserved like relics of a mystery. Whether it's the weight of tragedy or just the unsettling presence of the dolls, scientists and skeptics alike are captivated by this island. It's a place that raises questions no one can answer, where every creak and rustle feels like a message from the unseen. Off the coast of Nagasaki, Japan lies an island that feels like something out of a post-apocalyptic dream, Hashima Island, also known as Gunkanjima, or Battleship Island. From a distance, its dark, crumbling concrete buildings resemble an old warship, earning it a nickname that strikes fear into those who dare to explore. Once bustling with life, it now stands abandoned, an eerie reminder of Japan's industrial past. In the late 1800s, Hashima became a coal mining island with the world's first undersea coal mines. It quickly grew into a thriving community, home to thousands of miners and their families. The island had everything: apartment blocks, schools, hospitals, a cinema, and a swimming pool. But the island's story took a dark turn during World War II. During this time, forced laborers from Korea and China were brought to the island to work in brutal conditions, many of them dying from exhaustion and accidents deep within the mines. By the 1960s, Japan's energy needs shifted, and coal mining began to decline. In 1974, the mines were closed, and the people of Hashima were forced to leave. The island was abandoned and remained untouched for decades, its buildings slowly decaying under the pressure of time and nature. Today, Hashima is a ghost island, its once vibrant structures now hollowed out and weathered by the elements. The island's terrifying profile and rows of empty apartment buildings make it a popular yet chilling tourist spot. Scientists and adventurers alike are drawn to the site, captivated by its history and haunted by its past. The ruins of the island stand as a silent witness to the lives that were lost and the horrors that took place there. Hashima Island is a place where history, mystery, and decay collide. It's an island that terrifies those who visit, leaving them to wonder about the ghosts that might still linger among its ruins. Aokigahara Forest, nestled at the base of Mount Fuji in Japan, is shrouded in mystery and dark history. Known as the Sea of Trees, this dense forest is far from your typical peaceful woodland. Spread over 30 square kilometers, it's made up of ancient lava rock from Mount Fuji's eruption in 864 Common Era, creating an oddly quiet ground where even sounds seem to vanish. The forest has long been associated with ghosts in Japanese folklore, known as yurei, spirits of the dead who wander restlessly. But over the years, it has gained a much darker reputation. Since the 1960s, Aokigahara has been linked to a tragic number of suicides, leading to its nickname, Suicide Forest. The thick trees and silent, eerie atmosphere make it a haunting place, with many visitors seeking solitude, but often finding something far more unsettling. Parts of the forest are so dense that sunlight barely filters through, adding to the sense of isolation. Strange stories have emerged about the forest, like how compasses can go haywire in certain spots, seemingly guided by the forest's magnetic pull, or how some people claim to feel as though the trees themselves are watching them. The ground is often rough, covered in volcanic rock, and dotted with caves that fill with ice in the winter. Caves have become another mysterious feature of this already strange place. Scientists, hikers, and thrill seekers have all been drawn to Aokigahara, but it's not without its dangers. Though the forest attracts tourists for its beauty, it's also a spot where many go to disappear, and the sadness that lingers in the air is palpable. Today, signs are placed along the paths urging people in crisis to reach out for help. But despite the warnings, Aokigahara continues to hold its grip as one of the world's most haunted and chilling forests. The Sedlec Ossuary, or the Bone Church, is a small, strange chapel tucked away in the Czech Republic. It's not your usual peaceful church. This one is decorated with human bones. Located beneath the cemetery Church of All Saints in Sedlec, a suburb of Kutna Hora, the chapel holds the remains of between 40,000 and 70,000 people. These bones aren't just piled up randomly. They've been carefully arranged into decorations and furnishings, making it one of the country's most macabre and fascinating places to visit. The chapel is famous for its unique bone artwork. There are bell-shaped mounds of bones in each corner, and a vast chandelier made entirely of bones hangs from the ceiling, containing at least one of every bone in the human body. The walls are adorned with skull garlands and bone sculptures, including a coat of arms made of bones, and even the artist's signature, František Rint, carved into bone. It's as if the chapel itself is a monument to death, turning what should be a somber resting place into something almost beautiful and deeply unsettling. The story of this chapel begins in 1278, when an abbot named Henry brought back soil from Golgotha, the site of Christ's crucifixion, and sprinkled it over the abbey's cemetery. This act turned Sedlec into a revered burial ground, attracting the dead from all over Central Europe. During the Black Death and the Hussite Wars, many more bodies were buried here, and the cemetery had to be expanded. By the early 15th century, a Gothic church with a lower chapel became an ossuary for the countless bodies unearthed. Fast forward to the 1700s, and a woodcarver named František Rint was hired to organize the bones into the eerie sculptures that now define the chapel. Today, over 200,000 people visit the Bone Church each year, drawn to its haunting beauty and the mystery of how something so dark could become a place of art. The ancient Ram Inn, tucked away in Watton-under-Edge, Gloucestershire, is one of the most haunted buildings in England. Built in 1145, this eerie inn has a history that will send shivers down your spine. Originally a priest's residence, it became an inn and a public house. It's the oldest building in the area, but its story goes far beyond its age. The inn stands on land that's believed to be filled with strange energy, sitting at the crossing of two ley lines. These lines are thought to carry spiritual power. Some even believe they connect to sacred sites like Stonehenge, but that's not all. The site was once a pagan burial ground, and it's said that this ancient energy opened a portal for dark forces. Over the centuries, the inn has seen its fair share of disturbing events. One of the most famous tales is of a witch burned at the stake in the 1500s. Before her death, she took refuge in the inn, and many believe her ghost still haunts one of the rooms, now known as the Witch's Room. In the 1960s, John Humphreys moved into the ancient Ram Inn to preserve its history. The first night he spent there was nothing short of terrifying. He claimed a demonic force dragged him out of bed. Over time, he discovered evidence of ritual sacrifices and even found the skeletal remains of children beneath the staircase. Broken daggers were found with the remains, believed to have been used in dark rituals. John dedicated his life to the inn, but the spirits there made his existence miserable. His family left, unable to handle the constant hauntings. Today, John is in his 80s and still lives there, constantly facing the violent entities that haunt the place. The ancient Ram Inn is not just a building, it's a terrifying legend that has kept scientists and visitors alike on edge for years. The Tower of London is one of the most famous landmarks in England, but its long history is full of mystery and dark tales that have terrified locals and scientists. Located on the River Thames in London, it's been a prison, a royal residence, a treasury, and even a zoo. Built in 1066 by William the Conqueror, the tower was originally a symbol of power meant to control the city. But over the years, it became known for something much darker. The tower has always been linked to torture and execution. From the 14th century to the 17th century, it was a place where the disgraced were held. Some of the most famous names in history, like Elizabeth de Bisons before she became queen, and Sir Walter Raleigh, spent time in its dark, cold walls. The most chilling part? The mysterious disappearance of the princes in the tower, two young royal brothers who were never seen again and were believed to have been murdered within the castle's walls. The tower's reputation as a place of death comes from the numerous executions that took place there, with some people meeting their end at the hands of the executioner. While most executions were carried out outside Tower Hill, 7 people were executed inside the tower itself. But it wasn't just prisoners who experienced horror here. There are countless ghost stories and eerie accounts from those who visited. People say they've seen the ghosts of past prisoners wandering the halls, including the spirits of Anne Boleyn and the 2 lost princes. During the World Wars, the tower saw more death, as it was used as a prison for spies and traitors. 12 men were executed for espionage, and the tower was once again a symbol of fear. Today, the Tower of London is a popular tourist attraction, but its dark past still lingers. With its ghosts, mysterious disappearances, and stories of torture, the tower continues to terrify all who visit, leaving behind a legacy that no one can forget. The Stanley Hotel, nestled in the picturesque town of Estes Park, Colorado, is a grand old hotel that has captivated visitors for over a century. Built in 1909 by Freeland Oscar Stanley, the man behind the Stanley Motor Carriage Company, the hotel was designed as a luxury resort for the wealthy and a health retreat for those seeking fresh mountain air to cure their ailments. Surrounded by stunning views of the Rockies, it seems like a perfect getaway, but something eerie lurks beneath its elegant exterior. The hotel has long been rumored to be haunted, and its spooky reputation only grew after it inspired Stephen King's famous novel, The Shining. The author stayed there in 1974, and, in his own words, the hotel's atmosphere gave him chills. From eerie whispers in the halls to ghostly figures appearing out of nowhere, the Stanley Hotel has a long list of paranormal activity that has terrified guests and scientists alike. The hotel's history adds to its mysterious aura. It was built on land once owned by Lord Dunraven, who was disliked by locals for his attempts to create a private hunting ground. In 1911, an explosion in the hotel caused by gas leaks injured several people, adding another layer of tragedy to the already strange history. Some say the blast awakened restless spirits that still roam the halls today. Over the years, visitors and staff have reported hearing strange noises, ghostly figures, and sudden chills in rooms and hallways. One of the most famous spots in the hotel is the concert hall, where some claim to hear ghostly music playing late at night. Despite all its mystery and ghost stories, the Stanley Hotel is still a popular destination for those brave enough to stay the night. Whether it's the lingering spirits or the hotel's mysterious past, one thing is clear: this building's eerie presence continues to haunt those who dare to step inside. Ultimately, this mysterious building is more than a haunted place, a puzzle that has left even the most curious scientists scratching their heads. With its eerie history, strange occurrences, and spine-chilling atmosphere, it continues to baffle those who try to explain it. Whether it's the supernatural or something else, there's no denying the lasting fear it stirs. So, next time you pass by, remember, some mysteries are better left unsolved.